25th April 2015. It was a normal day out in Kathmandu, the capital city of Nepal. People were out in the streets as usual. Tourists were roaming around the Bhaktapur Durbar Square, Patan Durbar Square and other such landmarks of the city. Many locals were out for the weekend. Everything seemed to be well and pleasant in Nepal until a sudden loud noise was heard and the earth shuddered. Buildings were shaking, things were falling from their normal places and people ran out of their houses in panic. One of the most devastating earthquakes had shaken Nepal. The magnitude of this trembler was a massive 7.8 on the Richter scale. The 2-minute-long earthquake changed the very face of Nepal, and it was indeed a black day. Another black day in the history of Nepal after a long gap of 80 years. The most powerful natural calamity to strike Nepal since the 1934 Nepal-Bihar earthquake. Cries of women and children could be heard all across the country. Rubble and debris were seen all over the streets of Kathmandu. Many of the monuments and temples in Kathmandu Valley, including many UNESCO World Heritage Sites, were destroyed by the earthquake. Temples in Kathmandu, Patan and Bhaktapur were reduced to nothing more than a pile of rubble. The famous landmark of Kathmandu, the Dharahara Tower, a 9-story tall building, collapsed and now only the base remains, a harsh symbol of the devastation caused on this day. Suddenly, the beautiful valley of Kathmandu turned into a cremation ground, turning the city into a ghost town. Thousands of people have been left homeless. Entire villages have been wiped out. Tremors were felt across the region with further loss of life in neighboring India, Bangladesh and Tibet. 20 mountaineers lost their lives at the base camp of Mount Everest alone. Aftershocks occurred throughout Nepal with 15 to 20-minute intervals, with one shock reaching a magnitude of 6.7 on the Richter scale on the 26th of April, and another massive jolt on the 12th of May measuring as high as 7.4 on the Richter scale. The country also had a continued onslaught of landslides. The Nepal earthquake has affected both life and property in the region. The death toll has risen to over 8,000 and more than 10,000 people have been injured. Rescuers are digging through the rubble of collapsed buildings in the capital and adjoining towns, trying to reach survivors. The streets of Kathmandu are packed with thousands of locals and tourists alike who are too scared to go back to their homes or hotels because of the recurring aftershocks. Aid and relief agencies expressed concern for the welfare of the survivors as overnight temperatures were expected to drop sharply and people were forced to spend days without electricity, running water and shelter. However, soon several NGOs and rescue teams from around the world came together to support Nepal in its time of need. Though it may take years to rebuild Nepal, the spirit and resilience of the Nepali people is sure to help them through these difficult times.